Last time I was here, it's probably like 2.5 years ago. Right at the start of the whole content creation scenario. Honestly, if you're an older skater, 25 plus, you gotta stretch out, man. I usually just do like my toe touching, and the most important one for me is the ankles, man. Twist the ankles. Because every time I've had a bad injury is when I've neglected to do this. And every time I've gotten away when I thought I shouldn't have is when I have done this. So my name is Dan Webz. You guys may know me as Webz Skateboards. I have a YouTube channel and Instagram. We're at projects in Manchester. First time I fell in love with skateboarding was definitely playing Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. That game just sparked my love for the whole thing. I got a skateboard from my local co-op. At the time it was a Grind King board, 30 pounds. I was 11 years old at the time. And as soon as I started it, I just spent all day trying to learn how to do a kick turn, got that, and I was hooked from that day on. And ever since then, I've just been obsessed with learning tricks, doing more stuff, getting involved in other skateboard projects. I have always loved video production, right? And obviously I've always loved skateboarding. It's something I've always done throughout my entire life since as long as I can remember it, being like 10 years old or whatever. And we had quite a rough town, rough home life. So skateboarding was more like an escape to get away from things. And then how I got into content was like, I always loved making videos. Me and my friends used to make videos around, pranking each other, doing like skits and stuff like that. And then one day I just had an epiphany. I was like, why don't I just mix these two things together? Start doing a bit of skateboarding, a bit of the film production stuff, threw it into one, and then just over a period of time, just got more and more into filming skateboard stuff, filming other people, helping people get their feet on the ground in skateboarding. So I've always had it in my heart that I wanted to do something like this, but it just took me a while to actually get all the pieces in place to get the ball rolling. And now, like you said, we're doing content full time. So honestly, I couldn't ask for more. And we saved the microphone, just about. I would say my favorite skaters aren't really traditional skateboarders. Like obviously they are, but like not your traditional favorites. Rodney Mullen, obviously one of my biggest inspirations ever. I like Richie Jackson because of just the creativity involved, the way he uses things that you would never normally skate on, like traffic barriers and all stuff like that. He uses them for all crazy stuff. Andy Anderson, also one of my favorites. But a more traditional style skater that I love, Kyle Walker, absolute beast. Yeah, Joe Hinson's one of my favorite from the UK for sure. J-Fax, like for a mini ramp skater, someone like myself who loves mini ramp skating, J-Fax is such an inspiration, man. The way it's like dancing on the coping more than it is like skateboarding. Like, it's like an art form. Oh, Diggs English, the style that he has on the board. Like, I feel like a lot of people can get good at tricks, but to have that kind of flow and style, almost unmatched, especially at such a young age, man. That kid is nuts. Some probably lesser known people from the UK that I love the style of is Adam Kay, skates with Alex Takuna a lot. I love a few of the YouTube skaters as well, like Chris Chan, Johnny Geiger, mad inspiration from them. And as a guy who loves a lot of flip tricks, Jamie Griffin's also a big inspiration of mine.
Can you talk me through your grip tape?
The Hulk Hogan.
Does it not put you off?
No, I find it easier to skate with something vibrant in my face. Another reason, like for videos, if I'm doing a skate park review, camera pans down, Hulk Hogan's there, they're like, what the is that about? So yeah, it definitely plays into the content, and it's also fun to do stuff like this. I originally started doing it because for that reason, but after a while, me and Holly just got so into doing different ones that it's just become part of the content strategy. Holly loves doing that stuff as well. Like I'll get the idea, plan it all out, and then Holly's like, don't you touch it, it's mine now. And then she'll start cutting it all out and stuff. She's got a much like finer eye for detail than I have when it comes to stuff like this. So the journey that I'm on right now, content-wise, started maybe in like 2020. Like when lockdown first kicked in, I was the manager of one of the local bars, and I was just like, my idea for it was to earn enough money to build my own skate park, or at least start that journey of building something. And I sat down and I worked out, right, how many days am I going to have to work in order to get this money to build a skate park? And I worked out like I'll be working for like 20 odd years to be able to afford what I wanted. So at that point I was like, right, content creation has got a massive ceiling. We can potentially use that to put that money back into skateboarding, and then I just used that and grew that to a point where hopefully we can build our own skate park in the future. But it started off super low, first few videos you make, you've got people saying, why are you going to do this? Why are you even bothering? What is this guy doing making skate videos? Blah, 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 blah. But you've got to push through that. Once you get through all the times of 0 likes, 0 views, just take the wins where you can. No one ever talks about the bit where you carry the bags, do they?
What are we going to get out of this?
So I think I want to do a trace it down the stairs and then maybe a few other bits and bobs. I think maybe we'll go to the back and do a few bits and bobs first because stair set is currently inhabited. So we'll do that, wait for a little opening to clear and then see if we can get a nice trick down it. Always look both ways before you cross the skate park. Ooh, sketchy on that one. I think we're going to try and trace up the stair set. I'm going to do a couple of ollies first, get the legs used to the impact, then we'll go for it. Will I do that bit? Yeah, I'll do this bit. Oh, I was lucky you didn't take out a window right there. Come on! It's kind of annoying when you get so close on every one though. So close, so close.
Next one.
Next one, here we go. Oh, that was actually right, yeah.
That was nice, wasn't it?
Thank you.
How are your rail techers?
Not techers, no. The skate park I grew up at, and bear in mind it's the first, only skate park. This just sounds like an excuse because it probably is. But yeah, we had no rail at our skate park, so I didn't practice it. But now we've got one. Got no excuse now, really, have I? Not bad for first try. Yeah, that's about where my rail techers ends. You may have seen the video, but I had a blister patch on my palm here and it was bleeding so much, right? So I had to hold the blister pad on my hand like that when I was trying to trick. And then when I fell off, I palmed the ground again and it came off in a massive pool of blood. And then I filmed it as part of the video. And people were like, that's not his hand, that's ham. He's faking his injuries, he's doing this. The comments on that video were hilarious, man. They were like, it's a packet of ham, it's bacon, it's this, it's that, it's nappies, it's all kind of So people would say anything just to try and discredit you. Ugh.
I'm Holly, I'm Dan's partner, but I'm also his videographer, I guess. I film all of the content that we make on Instagram, YouTube and TikTok. It's been a lot to learn, but it's such an amazing, it's so fun to do, and I thoroughly enjoy it because it means I get to have a little sneak peek into, obviously I film it, but I get to have a sneak peek on the post-production as well, on how it's all together. And it's really fun. I really enjoy it, and one day soon, hopefully, it will be my full-time job, so I can leave my part-time job and then hopefully pursue this full-time.
How does that relationship work? Because I guess Dan is your boss. Is it collaborative? How does it all work?
So when I'm working, Dan is my boss. So we kind of put our relationship to the side to keep it professional. So obviously we still have couple squabbles during filming days, but when it's work days, he's my boss. I have to be respectful, I have to be professional. It's he's not my boyfriend, he is, my partner in the business side of things. So it works quite well, and a lot of my friends are how does it work? Is it not weird? And I was because I've been doing it for almost 5 years, it's just normal now. You kind of have to think, at a normal job, yes, you're friends with your boss, but you have to have a level of professionalism. Basically, he's my boss, but he's also my boyfriend, but when I'm at work, he's not. So it works really well.
How do you deal with like the online hate?
I mean, sometimes I'm quite I can be quite an insecure person, so sometimes it can be quite difficult, but I just have to learn to deal with it. Like if it's a comment on like my looks, I do take it to heart a little bit because I'm quite an insecure person. But if it's just like a passing by comment, I don't really think much of it. But I try not to look at them because I know it will just get to me and I just won't want to ever be on camera again. Whereas if I just ignore them, don't look at the comments and just carry on the way that I am, I can get behind I'm behind the camera, so I can get in front of the camera, so to speak. So I just try to ignore it and just think, well, I'm the one that's making a living from this. You're the keyboard warrior who's probably still living in your mum's basement. Do you know what I mean? So I'm learning to ignore them, but at first I found it really tough. I did find it really tough.
Do you want to see something cool? Well, I don't know if you'll find it cool, but do you want to see something? You know the brand Almost? It's an Almost skateboard. Ever seen one of these before? We're at Greystone Action Sports right now. Probably one of the best indoor parks in the UK, if I might say so. We're definitely one of the biggest, and probably my favourite, actually, to be honest with you. And the restaurant here as well. I mean, top tier. How you doing, man?
Oh my god! Can I get a selfie?
Oh, of course you can. Go on, whack out the camera. Hell yeah, man! Thanks for saying hi. Love that.
How long did it take you to get confident talking on camera?
Probably like a good year at least, because like I remember the days when me and Holly would go to the skate park, even with a completely empty skate park. And bear in mind, talking with people at the park and talking on your own at the park, like, it's so much easier to do it on your own. But even then, when I spoke on camera, I'd be stuttering all the time, having to redo bits. Like the editing process would be so much longer. But now I've kind of gotten used to it. It's like a second nature. But trust me, it's not like that from the start. And for anyone that gets in front of a camera and struggles to talk, just know that I was very much the same. But the more you do it, exposure therapy at the end of the day, the better you're going to get at it. So just do it more often and the better you'll be. Simple as that, just like skating itself.
You skate for a living, which is most people's dream. How have you made that a reality?
Well, there's been multiple things I've done over the years, and they've changed and evolved depending on how the atmosphere of content is, which is forever evolving. Like, you've always got to adapt to what's coming up next in this realm in which I skate in. So the first thing that happened to me was I started this whole content thing in like 2020, and at that time a lot of companies were looking for skateboarders to get involved in stuff. And I won't lie about it, the first time I got a contract was Snapchat reaching out to me. They're basically like, right, we want to get more skateboarders onto our like promotion of our new platform, which is like Snapchat Spotlight, basically their version of TikTok. So they at that time were paying us $4.5 grand a month for 1 to 2 videos a day. And they could, the only thing that they said, the only like contract stipulation was it had to be more than 5 seconds, and it couldn't obviously be like anything illegal or whatever like that. So the fact that we had full free reign of what we wanted to do, and then they were like, oh yeah, by the way, we might use your content in ads, and if we do, extra 500 quid per time we do. That never happened to me though, sadly. I'm not going to lie and say that I didn't get really lucky at the start, but if I'd have just relied on that now, I probably wouldn't have any money, because if I'd have just used that or saved it or spent it somewhere ridiculous not involved in skateboarding, then I wouldn't have been able to grow things. Because my idea was that I use that money to build up my other platforms so that when this contract inevitably ends, then I can be self-sustainable outside of the contract, and that's exactly what we managed to do. Like, we managed to build our YouTube up to the point, we weren't earning as much after the contract ended. We went from like $4,500 a month down to like $1,500. But I had money saved for trips and all that and stuff. Like, a lot of that money went on taking my boys on trips, because, for example, if I'm like, right, I want to go to this country and film, I paid for all my friends to come, paid for all their travel, all their stuff. I paid for everything for all my boys. I paid for everything for Holly every time we needed to do something. And then combine that with like camera equipment and subscription services to all these editing things and stuff like that. That money, it went as far as it could. But if I didn't use it to then build my YouTube and stuff, I would then be out on my arse now. Every single penny I get goes straight back into the content we make. Say for example, I spent $1.5 grand on our Amsterdam trip last month. it's only been like 6 weeks since we got back and I've already made that money back. And these videos only will continue to earn money the longer they're out. For example, on TikTok, post a video a month later, it's basically flatlined. On YouTube, that video a year later can go from 50k views to 1 million, to 2 million, to 5 million. So it really it can blow up at any point. So the more you invest in yourself and your content, the more likely you are to keep this career for a long time. Again.
Ooh, you alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. Oh, shouldered myself in the head, like, ugh.
You got double flips so consistent.
Oh, that's my favorite trick, man. As soon as someone told me it was cringe, I was like, I'm mastering it.
What's your awareness of the perception of a YouTube skater?
So I think a lot of people would assume that we probably don't make any money or anything like that outside of these things because we're not getting paid by traditional sponsors, right? Now, I have had a few sponsors, like skate sponsors, pay me for stuff in the past, but I feel like there's a slight problem with them is that there'll always be a kid younger than you, better than you, willing to do it for less money than you. So you can't really rely on these skate sponsors like that. Great to work with them to get free product and stuff like that to help support your journey. And for example, right, if a skate company reaches out to me and says we want to do a video, and if I was going to do a video for Virgin Media, they'd pay me $2,000 for a short or whatever. Whereas a skate company, if I was to say I want $2,000, they would laugh me out the door. So you've got to know when and where to charge these things. So the way that I figured it out through trial and error is charge the big companies as much as you can and use that money to subsidize the times when you want to help a skate company out because they're the ones that are in the scene with you, in the trenches with you.
What's your experience with it?
Okay. Well, my experience of hate comments is that you just got to know that the person behind the keyboard is likely just some fat kid covered in Doritos, surrounded by Coke and Monster cans. Very rarely, if at all, will you have someone that's actually successful saying these things to you. And in my experience, everybody that is successful has got nothing but love for the people around them and they just want to support everyone, which is what I like to preach on everybody else. And if you see someone in your comments talking shit or whatever, you've just got to know that they're just as important to your success as someone that loves you. For example, right, great quote that I heard is if your content doesn't get hate comments, not enough people saw it. So keep that in mind whenever you see people talking in the comments.
But does it affect your mentally?
There are times when, like, in the back of my head, even though what I've just said, and I know in my head that these people are most likely just keyboard warriors, right? It doesn't stop the fact that if you see something, and sometimes it rings true, right? Even if it might be a self-consciousness that you have in yourself, and sometimes you'll see it and you'll be like, man, is that real? And then it will sit in your mind for the rest of the day. The way that I've learned to deal with that is to just go out and skate. And you go out and skate, you do your thing, you make another video, and then all of a sudden you're on to the next one, and these people are left in the dust. If someone continues to harass you over and over again and you don't like it at all, just hide, like block them or hide them from your channel, because the people that are like that are usually few and far between. So you've just got to take it in your stride, and yeah, it will stick with you and be in your head sometimes, but it's just all part of the game. You can't have the highs without the lows. It's just the dichotomy of the whole social media system.
How much money are you making? Let's get into it.
Okay, so if it was a pie chart, for example, the ad revenue I get from YouTube is probably about 40 to 50% of things. Nowadays, and this is a key piece of advice, I know a lot of you skaters are sleeping on TikTok, right? But if you post 1 minute long videos, it has to be 1 minute and 1 second, keep that in mind. If you're posting those, you can get paid good money from that these days, right? A year ago, you get 1 million views on a TikTok, which bear in mind, doesn't matter how many followers you have, TikTok can blow your video up overnight, regardless of 1,000 or 100,000, just as much as me with 300,000 followers. My video, if it'll get 1,000 views. So TikTok doesn't care what followers you have. If you've got a good video, it will push it, right? So a year ago, 1 million views, 50 quid. Now, and this is as of like 3 months ago, 1 million views will get you close to 500, maybe to 700 quid, depending on how long the video is. So you really need to be on that. And even if you get 100k views, that's still like 70, 80 quid for something that you've spent maybe half a day on, making a minute long video. Even if it's a skate edit and you've done some cool, unique tricks, get on TikTok, get on YouTube. YouTube's a bit harder because they have a lot of pre-requirements to get monetized. But that's about 50 to 60% of my revenue total, them two platforms. And then there's also brand deals, but they don't come every single month. Like, they fluctuate massively. Sometimes you'll get 2 or 3 in a month. Other times you'll go 2 months without one. So with those ones, I just like to keep that money to the side, use it for trips and stuff. Whereas my YouTube and TikTok money is what pays my bills and stuff like that. But brand deals, you really have to know your worth on as well. Because so often, I mean, my email inbox is full of companies like, oh yeah, this product will really help your brand, blah, 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 blah. By the way, We don't want to pay you. We just want to give you the product. Never accept, unless it's a skate company or a product that you really love and you're going to use it a lot, never accept those because they're always a negative for the creator. And don't ever promote something that you wouldn't use or wouldn't feel like represents you in any way. So don't do it just for the money. For example, for me, right? I had a vape company offer me $5 for a video. I've never vaped in my life. Most of my audience are under 18. I ain't gonna promote that to them regardless if it was 10, 20 grand. You just need to know what you're doing and don't compromise your beliefs for any amount of money ever. The end goal for me is one, financial freedom, which basically means to me to be able to skate and do whatever I want, when I want, regardless if I have to post a video, this, that, or the other. Because at the end of the day, I started doing this for fun. It's more like a job now, but I love it so much it doesn't feel like one really. And the second goal for me is to have all my friends on my payroll so they never have to do anything apart from make this content thing happen. And number 3 is to have our own skate park that we can hit any time of day, support the local kids and get them involved in stuff and just push the scene as far forward as we possibly can. It's like a proper rocket flip, that one.
Favorite type of content to film?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like filming content where when I look at it, I feel proud of it. A trick that I've battled and that I know was really difficult for me is probably the most valuable form of content for me personally. It doesn't always perform the best, but that's the one where I finish a session and I'm like, smashed it today.
What about your least favorite?
I would say tutorials and stuff are probably my least favorite to film because I don't like to do a trick that I'm not super clean with because I feel like what am I offering? Teaching something that I'm not really good at. Spending ages trying to land a trick that you know you can already do, because I know for me when I'm trying to film a tutorial it takes ages to get a nice one that I'm happy with to show in a tutorial. So that's probably my least favorite content to film. Jeez. Damn. Alright, that was the one that lets you know you can do it, you just got to keep going.
Post-session reward.